Hello sailors, you're watching the Dodgy Kebab, and this video is a review of the 5.4.8 Mr. Pandaria private World of Warcraft server, WoW Freakz.
Hey Dodgy, why are you playing this server? I thought you hated Mists of Pandaria?
Well yeah, I'm not such a huge fan of Mr. Pandaria, but I'm reviewing because...
Because what?
Cause tonight, baby, I wanna get freaky with you.
So the basics are XP for kills and quests are set to 15 times rate. Well, for the most part it is, but more on that later. Gold and reputation is set to 2 times rate, and the server boasts a lot of scripted content on its website. I saw an average of around 2,000 players online. That could be up or down depending on what time it is, but it's a healthy population. It's also worth noting that you can decrease some of the rates via the website. So diving in headfirst at Northshire Valley, and the game hands you a couple of heirloom weapons right away. It gives you 2 help buttons. I'm guessing it's because people who are actively seeking to play Kung Fu Pandacraft need help. Help in the form of a Dignitas clinic. Something I'm fed up of seeing is bloody yellow mobs aggroing in the starting area. But mobs here seem to aggro from too far away anyway. Here you can see a mob way below my level, aggroing from a distance which I think is just too far away. Also, WoW Freakz uses the Pandaria trick of not having the fires in place for the vineyard, so they've stuck some elementals to represent the fires. Being a 15 times rate realm, I only needed to do a couple of quests before I was ready to leave the starting zone. Upon my exit, Mr. T was waiting outside with his Mohawk grenades, but here on WoW Freakz, they are a one-way ticket to Monty Python's Ministry of Silly Walks. I get to Goldshire, and the general profession trainer only wants to teach me mixology. Not exactly off to a flying start, so let's hit up the Darkmoon Faire because that's always good fun. The whack-a-mole game is quite buggy, but surprisingly can be finished, even though the quest NPC does their best to try and prevent you from handling the quest once you've finished it. The cannon target game is set so you can't actually miss. It portals you right above the target so you get a bullseye every time. The shooting game auto-locks you onto the target so you can't miss, apart from the times when it auto-locks you onto the NPC and you end up blasting him instead. This wouldn't be so bad, but when you open the prize after you win, there's nothing inside. Fuck you, game. Even more surprising than the whack-a-mole game is that the working tonk challenge is here. Again, the tonk just auto-locks onto the target so you can't miss. The turtle ring toss game is also pretty much the same. It auto-locks on, and once you've done it, it won't let you play again, which is a shit. But even worse, it knocks you on the fucking prize again! Also, a pro tip from me, don't enter the PvP ring, because there is no escape apart from using your Hearthstone to warp out. After pretty much automatically completing the Darkmoon Faire, I bought a pet and thought I'd have a look to see if the pet battles actually work here. I was a little shocked to see them working. Ashram, Pandashan and Warmane don't have them working, so well done to WoW Freakz because this is my favourite part of Mr. Pandaria. The professions skill up very quickly, and actually speed is a running theme here on WoW Freakz. The team have added portals to Stormwind, which I'm not really a fan of, but interestingly, all flight paths in the entire game are open from the very beginning. Then you have this, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but when you take a taxi, you arrive at your destination instantly. No flying around, just bam, you're there. So I quickly levelled up as the quest XP is so high, and before I knew it, I was ready to queue for RDF. Although it likes to list dungeons that are way above your level just to fuck you around. Before I started using the RDF, I thought I'd gain a few more levels, so I started the Hogger quest. Beat the Hogger very easily, and the quest works, but the scripting for the NPCs does not. On to Westfall, and for some reason, no one is dead, which makes the murder quest chain a little bit silly. I'm guessing the game knows this, and makes the murder clue quest very simple to finish. It was now time for my first RDF group, and I'm slung into the Wailing Caverns. The first thing I notice is that I'm playing with the Horde scum. We progressed through the dungeon as normal, although at the third boss there are copies of the quest NPCs standing around, which I'm not sure is correct. Either way, we battled through, and I fully expected the game to mess up at the final part where you have to guide the NPC to the boss room. Amazingly enough, the scripting is fine. The mobs spawn in the right places to try and take you down, and it all works just like it should. The whole thing is able to be completed. I went up a few levels in the Wailing Caverns and I flew past level 20. The game automatically gave me the first riding skill and a free mount. Something else the game does is hit you hard with the auto broadcast system. All the time it's telling you about features on the website and reminders about the rules. Although when you queue for RDF, it tells you how many other people are queuing at your level, which I found to be a great feature. WoW Freakz also replicates my favourite glitch.
Giants up for Detroit, a lovely city.
On the downside, the auction house is rather inflated, with a lot of prices through the roof. Another thing, which doesn't really end up being an issue because of the high drop rates, is the bonus profession levels attached to some items are completely bonkers. Here I am, trying to make heavy silk bandages, but it's heavy wool that gives me the bonus. Something else fucking weird is when I tried to do this pet trainer quest, it wouldn't start, so I entered a normal battle with her, anyway, just for fun, and when I beat her, she respawned, but now the quest complete marker is above her head. Moving on, I RDF Shadow Fan Keep and it was fine. I took part in a Nomagon, even though I fucking hate that instance, and that was fine too. Even though by this point I was well beyond the level for Westfall quests, I wanted just to see how many worked. I did the box quest at the end of the mine and it auto completed. When I went to leave the mine, the fucking box followed me.
What? What the fuck?
I did a few more Westfall quests just to check on the scripting. The quest where you eavesdrop on the thugs completes when you click on one of them rather than actually talking. The overloaded golem quest works, however the quest item is bugged just like in Ashran and you can use it to create as many golems as you like. The simple collection quests work fine, and the Riot in Moonbrook quest, which is uncompletable on most servers, auto-completes when you click on a particular NPC, so that's actually a step up from most servers. Seeing as Mr. Pandaria is such an easy expansion, I believed I could solo the Dead Mines at level 32. I smashed through the instance as planned and found no real problems. At the final boss on the boat, the Horde quest NPCs are present, but I guess this is to suit the cross-faction play, and they're harmless. Only after a bit more questing, I jumped into a Mordaron RDF group. Everything was going fine, but after we beat the second boss, 2 people quit. We stood around for a second, and then the game just ejected the remaining 3 of us from the instance. Moving on, I tried out archaeology and it seemed to work perfectly. Just a bit of a shame that you level up so fast to ever really keep on top of it. It does seem funny that the XP rate is set to 15 times on this server, because I'm pretty sure they could have set it to a default 1 times rate and got away with it. You see, it seems that the team have gone through the entire game and every quest that's not working has been set to auto-complete. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you can still complete anyway, which is clearly not as good as stuff working properly, but it's far better than just having a load of quests which don't do anything. Having a super high XP rate ruins levelling far more than auto-completing quests, because you end up so overpowered so quickly, there's just no challenge for you in the game. This is not to say the questing here is anywhere near as bad as somewhere like Ashran or Warmane. The team has still done enough work to get more functioning here than most other post-Wrath of the Lich King servers, obviously bar Atlantis. It's just a shame the XP rate is so high, because a lot of the core mechanics are of good quality. For example, here you can't exploit the warrior's move to super jump over the gap. Anyway, the XP rate is so high that before I knew it, I was ready to enter the Outlands. Once inside, I started to see the appearance of these WoW Freakz levelling chests, which give you really good gear. I got on with these quests which seemed to be working, even the ones where you have to blow up the portals actually worked. Before long, I was taking part in a Hellfire Ramparts RDF group, and again, it all worked really well, with the final boss having his scripting working well enough to show that even TBC content, the staff have been working on getting the game fixed. Although, a fairly large problem I found was that Omen threat meter didn't work. I got the download from the WoW Freakz website, which advertises it to work on their server. It does not. Lucky for me, I can tank without it, but this is something that needs to be fixed. I thought I'd have a go at one of my Burning Crusade benchmarks, which only I think Gamer District has it working, and that's the Exorcism of Colonel Jules. This requires a couple of pre-quests to be finished first, but with those out of the way, I went on to give it a try. I wasn't really surprised to see the game auto-complete the quests, but this is only the second time on a private server I've ever handed this in, so I guess that's something. By now, I was done with the Outland and it was time to head to Northrend. No need to wait for the boat, as there are portals at the harbour. I got to work right away on some quests. Even the Orber's Deception quest actually worked like it did on retail, and I was expecting this one to be on autocomplete. I fired up the RDF tool again and right away got an Utgard Keep group. There was no real problems here, although I'm not sure why these mobs are doing what they're doing. The rest of the dungeon was fine, but when we completed it and left, I was portaled here. I wasn't here when I joined the group with the RDF tool, but I'm here now, so thanks. I did a bit more questing and suddenly realised I'd not tried the Stormwind Profession daily quests. All the cooking ones can be undertaken and work just like they're meant to, and so I got the achievement for that. But strangely enough, the fishing quest NPC refuses to give you a single quest. With that checked out, I went back up north and took part in the Nexus RDF group, which, as you'd expect, worked fine. Right after that, I joined a Gundract RDF group, which also went off without a hitch. This is not to say the whole game was working fine. I was still running into weird glitches every so often, like mobs that are not animated, but I found that levelling using the RDF tool was a way to avoid seeing many of the bugs. It appears that the staff here put more effort into the dungeons than the huge list of quests they'd have to deal with, and I can understand that. It was now time to push into the next expansion, Cataclysm. I was expecting the amount of quests that was set to auto-complete to go up, but amazingly, the number actually went down. Sure, not every piece of scripting is perfect, like the dragon that's supposed to set light to the camp when you call him. Here you call, he appears, but he just flies away. But much more work than I expected. Another thing I wasn't expecting was the XP rate to start dropping down. Up until level 80, it's set to 15 times rate, but once you hit 80 and go beyond that, you're informed that it's dropped to 10 times. Anyway, so I pushed through with the quests, found good examples of the pathfinding and NPCs despawning properly. Although it's not all correct, the progressive regrowth section has regrown before I've even completed the quest, the trampoline doesn't work like it should, and when I took on the quest, Eye of the Storm, the game fucked out and I couldn't move. Reloading didn't work, and even relogging didn't fix the problem. I had to use the website features to unstick my character. Once I reached level 85, the server changed the XP rate down to 5 times. I knew it was time to head off to Pandaria to get involved in the last section of the game. I headed over to the portal, but that refused to let me in. I was wondering what to do, so when in doubt, hit the RDF tool. I was slung into a Storm Stout brewery group, and we started to hammer through the dungeon. It all seemed fine enough until we got to the first boss. Everyone didn't really seem to know what to do in the group, and it soon fell apart. I took this opportunity to accept res sickness and fly over to the Powdawn village, or Pawdawn village, however it's pronounced. I spoke to the innkeeper and I set my hearthstone there so I didn't have to worry about the portal not working anymore. I still wasn't happy that I'd had to glitch my way to Pandaria, and I decided to make sure I hadn't actually missed anything. I had a quest called the King's Command, which I must have been given automatically. I followed the instructions on the quest sheet, but it wasn't working. The NPC didn't do anything. However, speaking to a totally different NPC, it progressed the quest. So I followed the new instructions and I ended up in Pandaria. After a few similar hiccups with the very first quest, once I got into the new content, I got down to business and really got stuck into the new ones. Some worked but were a bit easy, some were easy but just worked, and others just worked. I took part in a second Storm Stout RDF group. This time I knew what to do, and so did everyone else. We flew through it and beat the area. Right after this I joined a different group and fought through the Jade Serpent Temple. Again, there was no serious problems and we beat the area too. A bit of questing, followed by a bit more questing, and I decided to go to the Pandaria capital city. Turns out the game had other ideas, and once I got there, it kicked me out and threw me into Dalaran. Turns out I needed to do a certain quest first. I'm sure on retail this all makes sense, but when you're flying through the game at an increased speed, you're not following the path that the game is designed to take you on. So I had to look up the quest online, and to say the quest chain was a bit wobbly is an understatement. I did it, but it was not plain sailing at all. A slightly iffy Shadow Pan Monastery group and a few quests later, and I hit level 90, which now meant I could take part in the heroic RDF groups. I led the charge through a Scholar Mace group that all went very well. The RDF queue times have been acceptable all the way up to this point, but now it was really good. See? Now here's the sort of time you'll wait for a PvP match. I knew I was very near the end of my testing, so I finished up the last few quests I had. Also found a glitch to keep on spawning a friendly NPC. But really, let's finish this by looking at the group finder tool. As we already know, RDF works. I can also tell you that the scenario finder works, although the raid finder does not. But in true WoW Freakz style, they've cobbled together a workaround. The auto broadcast system sends everyone messages when raids are being put together. The messages are very often, and they include the ID number for each raid. You just follow the instructions, and providing you have high enough item levels, you can join the raid. Because it was a busy time of year, I really didn't have time to get into raiding, but my own guess is that it's somewhere between playable and quite good. I'm basing this off the many people I spoke to while I played here. I had quite a lot of people say to me that the raiding is really good. The rest said that the raiding was just okay, but no one said it was bad, so to me that's quite a good sign. Right, well, that's pretty much everything. It's now time for the conclusion. Do I recommend this server? Normally, I'd say yes or no, but for WoW Freakz, I'm going to do it a little bit different. If you are one of these people that simply must play Mr. Pandaria and is more focused on the endgame content, then this server is your best choice. It's a lot better than Pandaria or Warmain, and it's clear that the staff here are quite dedicated to serving the player. I've personally never seen a better Mr. Pandaria than this, and these guys are miles ahead of everybody else. However, if you're looking for a really high quality questing or Blizz-like server, then don't expect to be blown away by WoW Freakz. A large number of quests are set to auto-complete, which although is better than nothing at all, it's still not working content. If you don't have a fair bit of World of Warcraft experience under your belt, then it's very easy to lose your way. And if you don't have a lot of private server experience, then the workarounds on this server might not make any sense to you. As someone who likes questing on Warcraft, it's hard for me to recommend this server. But as someone who's played a lot of private servers, I can see that the team here are working hard. They've put a lot of effort into getting to the place they are right now, but they've still got a lot of work ahead of them. Hello sailors, thank you for watching the video, hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to support me in my future videos, there's a Patreon link down there if you want to go that way, or by request I've now added a direct PayPal donate button, so if you want to do it that way, do it that way. There's other things you can do. You can follow me on social media like Facebook and Twitter, and why not have a look at these other videos I'm linking on the screen right now. Anyway, that's all, bye bye.